pole. And Mark Martin has been very fast on pole day this season, earning 6 poles. He's actually the last driver who won a race from the pole here at Dover. It was back in 1998. Now, the team did struggle a little bit with speed in first practice, but guys, this is the same car he won with in Darlington, so we know that it can go fast. Duck?
Indeed it can. Mark Martin, a 4-time winner here, hoping to be able to get another pole here in 2009. Cars lined up on pit road to qualify. 44 cars for 43 positions, and only one will not make it. So who's going to be that one? We're about to find out here momentarily. We welcome you inside our pit studio overlooking the front straightaway here at Dover International Speedway. Andy Petrie back from covering pit road in the garage area for the NASCAR Nationwide Series race. Dale Jarrett, and I'm Jerry Punch. And guys, it shouldn't be much of a surprise that the top 5 Cup cars in practice were guys that are a part of the chase. I mean, you see Jimmy Johnson up there, Ryan Newman, Montoya, Biffle, and Busch. But the big surprise may be the guys at the very bottom of those numbers, way down in 39th and 40, Carl Edwards and Casey Kay.
Yeah, I think none of us surprised that Jimmy Johnson's up on top because he certainly did the tire test here. He's been fast here before. He knows how to win at this racetrack, so I think no surprise. But Carl Edwards, I think, is a huge surprise. Even if you're working on race up, somewhere along the way, you're going to get in and try to run a fast lap, and they just weren't able to do that.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I mean, Carl's so good on this type of racetrack, but the Roush organization has just not been as strong as they are used to be, and I think this is just proof of that. Those top guys, like you talked about, Doc, there's a reason they're in the chase. It's because they're fast, and we do have a lot of those guys up there. And you see, I mean, Montoya is one that just impresses me the most. He's come to this chase. He got in. He had a strategy to get in. He's in there now, and now he's trying to make the most of it. I mean, he's at the top of almost every sheet.
And if you go down to the garage area and talk to Casey Kane's bunch, you think it's basketball season. All they talk about is rebounding. Guys, we got to rebound, which means they got to bounce back from a disappointment last week at New Hampshire. Well, we got a lot of racing coming your way here from Bristol International Raceway, qualifying for the NASCAR Nationwide Series tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and live flag-to-flag coverage at 3 o'clock. We'll see if Carl Edwards can move a little closer, possibly to Kyle Busch, in that Nationwide Series point standings. NASCAR Sprint Cup action coming your way live on ABC Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, race number 80 at the Monster Mile, presented by Burger King. Like some NHRA action, we got qualifying at 12:15 a.m. Eastern Time, and the final Sunday at 7 Eastern Time, both on ESPN2. When we come back, we'll roll the first car and GOAT, folks. Guess who? It's Juan Pablo Montoya, the first car to go out to qualify in a moment.
I like to ride motorcycles on the edge of control. I wouldn't say I'm wild. I just like to have fun. My accident was in October, and the first time I was back on a bike was middle of January. You know, just because you have an injury doesn't mean you should give up your lifestyle or your outlook on life and what you do to sustain life.
Protecting your heart includes watching your cholesterol. Now there's new Heart Health Advantage from Bayer. Its non-aspirin formula contains phytosterols, which may reduce the risk of heart disease by lowering bad cholesterol. New Heart Health Advantage from Bayer.
The burger, the fries, the bag, straw, meat, lettuce, sesame seeds, pickles, ketchup packets, wrappers.
CC's Endless Buffet for the same price as a burger in a bag. Now that's a value meal.
The Craftsman Cordless C3 line. 25 tools, 1 battery. Bring on the to-do list. Innovation, better value. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
Saturday, the nation's premier college football show rolls into Happy Valley. Penn State looks for redemption after last year's stunning upset at the hands of the Hawkeyes. Find out why Ja'Cory Harris's success at Miami comes as no surprise.
Don't panic about anything. Nothing phases Ja'Cory.
I would do anything that is possible to become a winner, and I refuse to lose.
Plus, an exclusive sit-down with coaching legend Joe Paterno. ESPN College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. Saturday at 10 a.m. on ESPN.
NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying, brought to you by Dickies. Wear with purpose.
At the Monster Mile, a track that certainly can deliver a blow as much as any track we go to. Guys, last week in New Hampshire, we're trying to attack the place. This week, if you attack, this place will bite back. First car to go, and we talked about Juan Pablo Montoya. He was the first car last week in qualifying by virtue of being on the pole. He's the first car this week by virtue of being the first car to go out, and that is not good news for this team.
Well, it's not the optimum. If you ask them, anybody down there wanted to go first, obviously somebody has to, but it's not what you really want to do. But the racetrack is going to sit less than 10 minutes from the time that our nationwide practice ended, so it's not going to be like it's going to have time to sit there and heat up that much.
And they have the same rubber on the tires, the same tires on both divisions, so track should be very, very good as far as that goes, and I don't really see this being a disadvantage other than maybe a little mental thing about having to be the first one out there without really knowing what you have to do to run fast.
And one driver who understands what this rubber will do just got out of his nationwide car. Carl Edwards standing by with Jamie.
And of course he's still on crutches. We followed him over here on the crutches. Carl, 39th overall in practice. What exactly did you guys work on, and what are you expecting from qualifying?
Well, Bob and PK have their fingers crossed, and I'm hoping this Aflac Fusion is capable of going fast like we did last week in New Hampshire. I mean, we turned it around. This week we leaned on Greg Biffle's setup just like we did last week, so it's great to have a teammate that's that fast, and it's great that we share the information, but I got to just pull one out of the hat here and hope that this is a fast lap. The Scott's Fusion on the nationwide side is really fast, so at least I had a good time the last hour, and hopefully I can finish the day well here.
Well, I know the first half of that practice you guys actually did do some mock runs and work on qualifying setup. What are you struggling with most?
Well, it's really strange. I know every crew chief doesn't want to hear this, but it doesn't feel that bad. It's just really slow, and we've been really fast here. It seems like this is one of my best racetracks. So I was talking to Jamie. He was helping me out a little bit, and I think that there's just something that we're doing with the platform and the way the car sits in the corner, and hopefully that stuff that Greg and Greg Irwin helped us with will make this thing fast.
Well, it's one of the chasers. He's 11th in points. Crossing his fingers and trying to pull one out is not where he wants to be right now, Doc.
Carl will be the 9th car to go out. Now Juan Pablo Montoya on the racetrack. The good news for Juan Pablo was back in May he qualified 3rd. The bad news for Juan Pablo, he finished 30th. He cut a tire. And here's the better news for Juan Pablo. That tire isn't back this time. They got a brand new tire, and Goodyear's worked really hard to get a tire that I think everybody thinks is going to be much better for this racetrack. Yeah, I talked to him this morning. He really likes this tire. He said they actually never ran this total combination. They had a little bit of the compound and a little bit of the stagger, but they were with different sets, and Goodyear took this back, and this is what they brought back. But everybody really seems to like what they have here.
Yeah, the combination that they brought is good, but some people are under the misconception that just because you did the tire test that you ran all your laps on the tire that we're running this weekend, and that's just not the case. See Juan Pablo going up a little bit there in the corner.
It looked like he didn't get the grip that he wanted there, and that's what can happen with that first car out. It just, no matter if it just sits 3 or 4 minutes, it just never seems you get what you're looking for.
He did break that 23-second barrier, though. It's 22.97.
He was very good in practice, Montoya. That's the only lap he will take. In practice, he ran a 22.92, so very close to what he ran in his quick lap. That's even better than what he ran in his practice lap.
We'll see. Qualifying here is such a fun lap as a driver. You saw him only take the lap there. So you just have to really put it out there. I mean, you have to drive it off into the corner. You have to get back to the gas, and the main thing, you have to be able to hold that throttle wide open off the corner.
So what you're saying is when you drive it down in there, you got to make a commitment.
You are committed here by all means, yeah. It is a fun lap as a driver, though.
Here's Clint Boyer, one of over a dozen drivers doing double duty. He was second quickest in his nationwide car about 15 minutes ago. Let's see what he can do having to jump into the Cup car, and how tough is this?
I think that by what these guys tell me, especially now with these cars being so different, it is very, very difficult because you drive them so much differently now.
I mean, you see just in that last practice session, our nationwide practice, where Denny Hamlin did not even want to practice his car. They put a rookie in there, kind of a risky move, and it ended up crashing the car. But that's just how much different it is. They do not want to go back and forth between these cars. And, Clint Boyer's done a good job of it. He was his first lap was 23.14. He's doing double duty this weekend.
See what he can do. His best start here at Dover was 6th in the fall race a year ago.
Yeah, he slows down a little over a tenth on that second lap. And Jimmy Johnson was telling me, I was asking him if he thought a lot of years. You have to really keep up with this racetrack. Is it going to be stickers? Is it going to be the first or second lap on stickers? Are you going to do scuffs? And Jimmy told me, and he was the fastest in practice, he thought that stickers and that first lap was going to be the way to go.
That's what it looked like in the practice session, that, the first lap, you have to get it all in because it just does lose a little grip over the course of the run, and that second lap has been slower even in practice.
Let's talk to Juan Pablo Montoya. Shannon.
Well, obviously a lot of talk about you going out first today in this qualifying run. Can you describe what the track is like right now, Juan?
Well, we just went out and did what we could. We ran, I think, a 93 in practice, ran a 97 just now. So I thought it was a better lap than practice. Also, and I don't think it's fast enough for Paul, but hopefully it's up there.
Well, Juan Pablo has been very fast this season, guys. He's also been the mover. He moved up 7 spots in the points last weekend.
Good time of the year to be peaking for Juan Pablo Montoya and that team. Here's Matt Kenseth, former pole sitter and former race winner here. Back in 2002, he won the pole. In 2006, he won the race.
That first lap was about a 10th off of what he ran in practice. Now, this racetrack, the one thing that has happened, it has heated up throughout the afternoon. I mean, it's not a scorching hot day here by any means, but the racetrack has changed since they last practiced.
Speak for yourself. You've been sitting in this air conditioning all day. I've been out there. It's hot out there. I was down in the garage earlier, and it's a pretty warm day.
Picks that up to a 23:30, and his best lap in practice was a 23:28. So basically about the same time.
Kenseth, the only 2 wins for Ford here in 2009 are his, where he won Daytona and California. Next car to go out will be Jeff Burton, who has had some success here. In fact, it was the fall 3 years ago that he went to victory lane here at Dover. Late laps and Burton battling with the 17 car. Former teammate Matt Kenseth. When the day was done, it was Jeff Burton who would go to victory lane, and wife Kim so emotional realizing how important this was, because at the time that allowed Jeff Burton to become the points leader in the chase.
Yeah, that was a great race those two put on that day. I think we have the prospects of seeing something at least that good on Sunday here.
Jeff Burton had really bounced back and was having a good run in New Hampshire last week. Had driven from the back of the pack all the way up into a top 5 or 6 position prior to that contact in the final laps. Really trying to turn their season around.
Yeah, they really need to have some good things happening. It's not that Jeff Burton's forgot how to drive a race car. I know that for a fact. He's given everything he can. He's a very smart chassis man, but they're really struggling right now.
Both laps very close together, but the first lap is the quickest.
Burton has been awfully good at this racetrack. 5 top 10s in the last 17 races, so maybe he'll bounce back here on Sunday.
These days, wouldn't it be great if saving money happened as automatically as everything else? At Bank of America, it practically does. Use the Bank AmeriCard Power Rewards Visa credit card and earn rewards like cash back with every purchase. Cash you can put into savings or even use to help pay down your credit card balance. It's one of the many ways we make saving money in tough times a whole lot easier.
So what do you say? $5 gets you the burger, the fries, the bag, straw, meat, lettuce, sesame seeds, pickles, ketchup packets, wrappers.
CC's Endless Buffet for the same price as a burger in a bag. Now that's a value meal.
Want to keep that car running better, longer? Take matters into your own hands. AutoZone is the one place with the expertise you need to get the job done right. Because do it yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
It started in March. 100 anglers set out, competing to be one of 12 to make it to postseason.
Yeah! Woo!
Now, 2 final events will determine the Toyota Tundra Bassmaster Angler of the Year. Don't miss the Bassmaster Elite Series, Sunday at 4 on ESPN2.
You're looking for a used car? You gotta check out vhix.com.
We had no clue what we were doing.
They made it really easy.
They got these new pre-owned video buying guides from Wheels TV.
They give you tons of information. Power Circle ratings from JD Power and Associates. The free Carfax reports.
Oh my gosh, thousands of dealers use Carfax in their listings. See things like mileage, service, the number of previous owners. It's awesome.
vhix.com has your used car.
Research and find the exact used vehicle that's right for you at vhix.com, your online resource to find your ride.
what your engine feels, you feel. And when it's running clean, you feel it. Which is why Pennzoil Platinum has active cleansing agents that clean out up to 46% of sludge in your first oil change and continue to clean in your next change. Pennzoil Platinum Motor Oil, our ultimate clean for your ultimate feeling. Not just oil, Pennzoil. Come in now for music downloads and a service certificate with any Pennzoil oil change.
Sprint Cup pole qualifying continuing from Dover, Delaware. Here's the 98 car on the racetrack. That's Paul Menard. 29-year-old driver trying to get his first top 10 start. His best start previously had been 13th in the spring of 2008.
Yeah, he was pretty good here in practice. He was 12th in practice. Sits down a pretty good lap there at a 23.16.
He spent most of that first practice in the top 3 or 4. He was really fast. Now, by the end of the practice, when everybody made their mock qualifying runs, he did fall back to 12th fastest, but a 23.16.
That's just 100th of a second quicker than what he ran. But he slows down just a half a tenth right there on that second lap.
See Larry Carter, the crew chief, who when he was the crew chief for Rusty Wallace, they were very, very good at Dover, Delaware, at this racetrack. We'll see if Paul Menard can hang on to that third spot.
Well, nothing against Larry, but I could be crew chief for Rusty Wallace at Dover and got pretty good too, I think.
I think if I had my choice, I'd want to be his crew chief at like Martinsville or Bristol.
Yeah, there wasn't many places that you couldn't say that you wanted to be Rusty's crew chief.
Next car to go out will be the 14 car, two-time champion and two-time Dover winner. There is smoke. Tony Stewart.
See that Burger King design on the car this weekend. Last time he had that at Daytona, he won the race.
Tony spent a lot of time in race trim practice the first session and then jumped up right at the end after making his mock qualifying run.
Hard to believe that the last 5 races in a row, Tony Stewart has not had a top 10 finish. That is will be the first time in his career he's never gone 6 races without having a top 5.
You can see he's 4th quickest there with a 23.29 on that first lap.
He's going to give it a go on this second lap. It looks like it's definitely going to be a lot slower.
Yeah, and you know, they just had some problems. The performance of the car hasn't been that it's been terrible in these last few races. It's just been they've encountered a few problems along the way that you kind of would expect a first-year team to maybe have, but not after they led the points for the majority of those first 26 races.
No, yeah, they were the team to beat in that first section, the regular season, but just a little mental error. Last week with leaving the cap loose on the left rear hubcap. Axle cover just cost him a lot of time at the end of the race.
Tony will be our in-race reporter. You want to ask him a question, log on to ESPN.com, search Ask the Driver. Maybe have your question posed by Dale Jarrett to Tony Stewart during the pace laps on Sunday.
They having a little fun driving down pit road there.
I was talking to him this morning. Tony's excited about being our in-race reporter, so think up your best question and let's throw something at him on Sunday.
Here's a driver that has been a pretty good story this year, in and out of different cars. Now back in the Hall of Fame / Yates car. This is a Ford Fusion. Bobby Labonte, the 2000 Series champion and winner from the pole here at Dover back in 1999.
That first lap is not what Bobby's looking for. He struggled a little bit in practice today. He was only 33rd quickest, 23.39 during the practice session, but he's about 0.3 of a second off of that.
These last few weeks, or a couple of weeks, 2 of the last 3 weeks, he's been in that 71 car. Done a good job in it. Now he's back in the 96. That 71 was fast in practice. He was in top 10 with David Gilliland behind the wheel this week.
Remember, Bobby qualified that 71 car 8th last week at New Hampshire and ran in the top 15 for much of the afternoon. Right now, he is the slowest of the 7 cars that have run, but Bobby does have some very good memories at Dover. Take a look at June 6, 1999. We told you he sat on the pole and driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. He would lead 44 laps and go to victory lane as the winner that day.
He won me $100 that day, or actually qualifying day. I bet Schrader he was going to be on the pole. And he did it for me.
You're always taking Schrader's money, aren't you?
Yeah. That's easy, though.
Here's John Andretti out to qualify. He'll be the 8th car of 44 cars that are going to take time here in this session.
John's time in the earlier practice session was a 23.60.
John's best start here was a 4th place start back in 1995. His best finish was a top 10. He finished 9th in the fall race of 98.
First lap was 23:53. That puts him in the 7th spot right now. Montoya wasn't sure about his lap, but is holding up pretty well right now. Everybody seems to be kind of on pace right at where the speeds they ran in practice.
So John Andretti clocks in 7th of the 8 cars that have gone thus far. Now, how about a guy who hasn't won this year but is very good at this racetrack? Jamie.
This is his best track when you look at the chase tracks coming up, and he was second practice. Ryan, what do you expect from qualifying here?
I think the track's lost a little bit of grip from where we were qualifying, so I think Juan put down a pretty good lap. But our U.S. Army Chevrolet was pretty competitive, and Tony Gibson, the guys did a really good job. We didn't come off the truck very strong and made some big improvements, so really looking forward to this one lap.
All right, they did a great job in first practice. We'll see how qualifying turns out. He's a 3-time winner here, Doc.
Thank you, Jamie. I'm not so sure this guy's looking forward to this lap, though. Carl Edwards, as you heard a moment ago in the interview, said they threw a lot at his car. He was 39th in practice, in the morning practice session.
He was really that way last week at New Hampshire. In the high 30s, mid-30s in practice, went out there, qualified 5th. I'm sure he's hoping lightning will strike twice this week, and he'll do it again.
I'm telling you what, this is an exciting enough lap whenever you know what your car, have some idea of what your car might do, but when you throw a lot of things at it, it does make it exciting.
He's still struggling. He picked up a little bit from practice, maybe a half a tenth or so, but still going to be a little disappointed with this.
Last year here in this race, it was a 1-2-3 Roush Fenway sweep with Greg Biffle winning at Kenseth 2nd, and this guy, Carl Edwards, finishing 3rd. Always runs well here at this track.
It looks like he does. He picks it up just a little bit. Just about a half a tenth of a second on that second lap. First one's done that.
Well, actually, and looking there, Matt Kenseth, it's the 2 Roush cars that have the only ones that have picked up, and they both were about a half a tenth.
Maybe an omen for Sunday. They keep picking it up the further they go. As the race progresses, they'll be moving toward the front.
They got 400 laps.
It's time to feel what it's like to be the seasoned vet on top of the standings and a hungry pack anxious to respond. Time to dig deep to avoid getting devoured by one monstrous mile. The chase continues at Dover, Sunday at 1 Eastern on ABC.
ESPN, how can I help you? John Anderson is at extension 5634. There you go. Oh, Stan, got a message for you. Production meeting, 2 o'clock.
Where's the rest of the crew? Pandorum is primal.
Don't move. What did you see? They didn't see me, human.
Pandorum is evil.
Run!
This Friday,
We need to get out of here.
Pandorum is everywhere.
Finish it!
Pandorum. Rated R starts Friday.
I'm a man. And I smell like a man. But sometimes I like to smell like a different smelling man. Point is, men need a variety of scents. So Old Spice makes a variety of scents. But I don't use them.
Because I'm a woman.
Just kidding. I'm not a woman. I use all of them. Because I'm a man.
Great tailgate party, huh, Duke? Duke?
Excuse me.
What?
I'm from the Tailgate Research Institute. Are those Bush's baked beans?
Wouldn't tailgate without him.
Excellent.
Bush's baked beans are slow cooked with a blend of spices. So whether you're serving sizzling hot dogs at home or juicy brats at the stadium, nothing goes with game day like Bush's baked beans.
It's official. Bush's baked beans are a game day hit.
And no one recognized you.
Jay, I'm a master of disguise.
Home or away, nothing goes with a big game like Bush's baked beans.
The Craftsman cordless C3 line. 25 tools, 1 battery. Bring on the to-do list. Innovation, better value. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
So what do you say? $5 gets you the burger, the fries, the bag, straw, meat, lettuce, sesame seeds, pickles, ketchup packets, wrappers.
CC's Endless Buffet for the same price as a burger in a bag. Now that's a value meal.
Elliott Sadler out to qualify, trying to back up that impressive top 10 run all the way from 35th place starting spot last week at New Hampshire.
Got the gear. Whoa. Got a problem right there. Like something let go under the hood.
What happened there, E? It blew up.
Well, Elliott had just turned a lap at 23:51, which put him 8th overall of the 10 cars, and he will not get to run that second lap. Obviously, engine troubles. And, guys, we saw that happen to Casey Kane last week as a chase contender. Casey Kane, that was the first DNF for Richard Petty Motorsports all year. This is not a race, but obviously a problem here for Elliott Sadler. While they check out the track and Elliott coasts in, let's go back to the garage area and talk with Tony Stewart. Here's Shannon.
Well, when we come to Dover, there's a lot of talk about the Monster, but of course for Tony Stewart today, it's the King, Burger King, on his fire suit and on his car. They talk a lot about the seams in this racetrack being almost like a sidewalk. How is your car handling on the seams today?
Well, if you look out there, I mean, all these concrete squares are about 10-foot patches, 10-foot square. So there's a lot of seams around there. But, everybody's just trying to, I think the thing we've been fighting today is trying to get our car to land. And, you drop way down the hill to go into the corner. And when you get to the bottom, you get it to land nice and smooth. And that's what we've been fighting with our Burger King Chevy today.
All right, good luck to you this weekend. Tony Stewart.
Thank you, Shannon. Those seams are expansion joints for the concrete, and they get filled with rubber and can be a little slippery out there. Here's Kyle Busch finishing his qualifying lap. He wasn't slipping at all, guys.
Pretty good lap by Kyle Busch there, 23:22. That's about 2.5 tenths off of the pole run so far for Montoya, but a pretty good effort by Kyle Busch.
Let's talk with the driver who dominated here back in May, Jamie.
And Jimmie Johnson is that man, 4-time winner here. But, there's been some speculation on whether or not this tire combination has been tested. You actually tested it here, Jimmy. What'd you find?
Yeah, we tried a bunch of things for Goodyear when we were here, and in the end, the test was over. I knew this set of tires was looser than what we had kind of been working with, but truthfully, we're all working so hard to get these cars to turn more that I kind of suggested bringing this tire back so that we could actually tighten the cars up some and put some grip back in the cars. At the same time, it laid down a lot of rubber. My cars that were here and also the trucks that were here really enjoyed the tire too. So there's no doubt it's different and the cars are turning stronger, but I think at the end of the day we'll have a better race because we'll have more adjustability in these cars.
All right, the tire's working for him, the car's working. He was fastest in first practice, Doc.
Indeed he was, Jamie. They tested that tire back on August 4th and 5th. Had 8 drivers here, 2 from each of the manufacturers come here to test the new Goodyear product, and it's working really well. Here's Jamie McMurray, and he clocks in right now 7th overall.
They carry him holler he was loose, and that's
you
been
can see it.
Yeah, it wasn't any doubt in our mind about that. But and to go back, what I said about Montoya, he didn't run this exact combination of the tire, but Jimmie Johnson, I believe, did have this. It's just that everybody doesn't do the same thing when you're at a tire test. You have 8 cars here, so it was something that Goodyear had done. It's just that Montoya never had this exact combination on his race car.
We are setting the field for Sunday's race, which is stop number 2 of 10 in the 2009 chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. The championship lead has changed 4 times in the last 5 seasons here at Dover. Now, Mark Martin comes in as the leader. Will he leave here as the leader on Sunday? Our coverage begins at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC, beginning with NASCAR Countdown. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series presented by Burger King. Again, race number 2 of 10 in the chase. Here is the 6th car going out to qualify, and that is David Reagan. Talking about teams that really want to build some momentum for next year. It's been a struggle for this team, saying the least.
Yeah, it has been that. We expected big things. They got the UPS sponsorship for the year, and with what we saw with this race team last year, we thought that they were on the verge of not only winning, but certainly making the chase. But that hasn't panned out. We hear there could be wholesale changes within this race team before next year.
That's a pretty good lap, though. Top 5 so far. A 29. He picks up just a tick of the watch from his practice time.
Now, David was one of the guys that actually tested the tire here back in August. That's got to help you as a driver, DJ.
There's no doubt you get a good feel for it. It gives you more time on the racetrack. You can do some things with your car that Goodyear allows you once you get into the session. So, yeah, that certainly is a help, and looks like it did help this race team.
Let's hear from Elliott Sadler, who had issues with the engine apparently in qualifying. Shannon?
2nd week in a row for RPM to have some motor issues. How concerning is this for you that we've seen this 2 weeks in a row, Elliott?
Well, the bad part is we broke a crank, which is the same thing the 9 did last week. So we kind of know maybe where we're coming from that. The good thing about it is we did it on Friday and not Sunday. So we're going to make the necessary changes. I'm not sure what backup motor we're going to put in it yet, so it's not a good thing, definitely, but they're going to dissect and make sure we don't have this problem on Sunday.
Now, I know Casey's running the old motor this weekend because this happened last week with the R6. Do you think maybe something's being overlooked at the shop with all the turmoil that's going on right now at RPM?
No. I mean, we've been having some issues, I think, with the cranks, but they've been lasting 1 or 2 races. So the deal last week with Casey was a brand new crank. I think this was the second race. So the second race on this one, so they haven't been breaking that early. So we're trying to get more and more horsepower out of these cars each and every week, okay? And when you do that, you're putting pressure on different things. So nothing is being overlooked. We're just trying to get all the horsepower we can out of the car. So I apologize to the Geek Squad guys. We got a beautiful car this weekend, but we're going to fix it. I don't know what backup motor we're going to put in there yet. That's Robbie Loomis's and those guys' decision, and we'll go from there.
And like Elliott said, better that it happened today than on race day.
Yeah, certainly better. I don't know if he's going to wear those glasses on Sunday, but I'd suggest maybe not. I don't know.
He's got the Geek Squad outfit on for sure.
And it's not even Halloween yet, folks. By the way, you just saw Ryan Newman a moment ago go out, and he qualified second quickest. So the Rocket Man right now on the outside front row beside Juan Pablo Montoya. Here's the 77 car of Sam Hornick Jr. Big disappointment last weekend in New Hampshire after driving his car into the top 15. They had engine failure and had a very disappointing finish.
Yeah, he's fourth right now at a 23.15, so a good lap for him. We talk about Ryan Newman up in second. He slowed down almost a tenth from his practice speed, but that is just behind Montoya's time of 22.97.
That's a nice pickup from practice for Sam. He picks up a tenth and a half from his practice time. Sam slows down just a little on that second. Sorry, Jerry.
No, indeed. He's picking up. This whole team is picking up. This 77 team, man. He 2 top 5 finishers the last 7 races, 4th at Pocono and 5th at Michigan. And until the engine issue they had at New Hampshire, he was coming through the pack and had gotten almost to the top 10.
That's what we've seen really out of him since he started in this series. He's really been methodically getting better and better week in and week out and learning how to drive and race and set up these cars. I think it's just a sign of things to come for next year for this team.
You're exactly right, Andy. And I think we've seen from Montoya. He's in his 3rd year. Let's give Sam a little bit more time. You know, we talked a lot, and I think a lot of people were kind of writing out, well, he can't do these kind of cars. I think we're really seeing him be very successful at this.
Some drivers love coming to Dover. Others would rather be anywhere else but here. Look at the very bottom of that list. Look at Denny Hamlin's average finish at Dover. Ouch, 25th. And the last 4 times he's been here, folks, he's finished 38th, 43rd, 38th, and 36th.
Yeah, but he was also running second at one of those and had a tire problem. So it's not like he doesn't know how to get around. They just haven't had much luck. But Denny is well aware of all of that because he talked in the media session about this is their nemesis. This is a racetrack. This is the race they have to get through.
One thing they have to do, I think, to get through this is get it out of your head, man. This track is in his head. It's like, this is not my best track. I want to get through this, but this would be a good week to turn that around.
He does have momentum. Remember, he won Richmond and finished second last week at New Hampshire.
Gentlemen, you booked your hotels on Orbitz. Well, the price went down, so you're all getting a check for the difference.
Yeah, thanks.
Except for you. You didn't book with Orbitz. You're not getting a check. Well, I think we've all learned a valuable lesson today. Good day, gentlemen.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Introducing Hotel Price Assurance, where if another Orbitz customer books the same hotel for less, we send you a check for the difference automatically.
Want to keep that car running better, longer? Take matters into your own hands. AutoZone is the one place with the expertise you need to get the job done right. Because do it yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
I've had asthma forever.
I've had asthma for 5 years.
10 years. I used to wonder why my controller medicine wouldn't help prevent
my symptoms from coming back.
I just figured it couldn't get any better.
And then I found out something I didn't know.
I found out there are 2 main causes of asthma symptoms. Airway constriction you feel, and inflammation you may not.
Most controllers don't treat both.
So, my doctor prescribed Advair. Advair treats both main causes to help prevent symptoms in the first place.
Advair contains salmeterol. Salmeterol may increase the chance of asthma-related death, so Advair is not for asthma that's well controlled on another controller medicine. Advair will not replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be taken more than twice a day. Talk to your doctor about the risks and benefits of Advair. If you take Advair, see your doctor if your asthma does not improve or gets worse.
If you're still having symptoms, ask your doctor how to help prevent them with Advair.
Get your first prescription free and save on refills at advair.com.
Advair. Now you know.
Inventors, InventHelp can help you try to patent your idea and submit it to companies. Call 1-800-236-7211 for free information. That's 1-800-236-7211.
Qualifying continuing here at the Monster Mile, Dover International Speedway. That's Casey Mears' 07 car slowing down. He clocked in 13th of the 17 cars that have gone thus far. How about a guy right now on the front row, Shannon?
Well, Ryan Newman, that is a man, Rocket Ryan Newman, who felt like, I read, that you should have won this race earlier this season. So how close is this car to the car that you had earlier?
Who wrote that?
You did. It was in your quote sheet.
No, we had a good car the first race. We just got a little off there at the end, but we really weren't any good at all from when we unloaded today. And the guys did a really good job. Tony Gibson and the guys did a really good job of making it better, the U.S. Army Chevrolet. And I think that'll be a top 5 run, I think. I don't know if the track's going to pick up here at all, but it was a good run for us. I think that Juan laid down a heck of a lap to go out when he did.
Ryan Newman has 13 wins. 5 of them came in this very month, so we could really call him Mr. September. Maybe he'll get it done this weekend.
He was looking forward to coming here. We talked about how he loves to race on the high bank concrete here at Dover. Here's a team and a driver that had a pretty good comeback last week at New Hampshire after a pit road incident with a lug nut. It cost them 19 positions. They came back to get an 11th place finish.
Yeah, and they were really pleased with that and probably pleased with this first lap here. That's 6th quickest at a 23:17 for Brian Vickers.
Wasn't all that pretty. It was an unorthodox line, but it was effective.
He slows down a couple of tenths on that second lap.
Started 9th back in May, finished 25th, but felt they've got a much better car and a much better momentum in terms of the chemistry of this team to maybe get a top 10 finish here on Sunday. Lots of motorsports to come your way. NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow on ESPN2, and then live flag-to-flag coverage at 3 o'clock Eastern Time for the NASCAR Nationwide cars. And, of course, our NASCAR Sprint Cup action. Stop 2 in the 10-race chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup, presented by Burger King. Coverage beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC, beginning with NASCAR Countdown. NHRA action, O'Reilly Superstart Batteries NHRA Fall Nationals, qualifying at 12:15 a.m. and the final Sunday at 7 Eastern Time.
There's a former winner at Dover a couple of years ago in 2007, Martin Truex.
Not a very good first lap.
Especially now with his teammate on the pole. We haven't really seen much of a pickup for anybody, as Andy was talking about the 2 Roush cars.
This one looks like a better lap, though. It's tracking just a little faster than his first lap.
Yeah,
they can hold it.
Yeah, lose a little bit off of turn 4 right there.
Picks up just 0.03 of a second, just a little bit.
Bit of a surprise because the last 3 times he has qualified, he sat on the pole at Atlanta, started 2nd at Richmond and 7th at New Hampshire. Jamie.
Well, last weekend, this man had his first blow-up and DNF of the year. Casey, you just saw your teammate Elliott Sadler blow. What are your thoughts?
It's a tough position that they were in, I guess. Hopefully none of these other ones are going to break this weekend. We haven't had too many problems all season, so it's kind of crazy it's happening right now. But, the Budweiser Dodge was decent in practice and racetrack. We didn't make a qualifying run, so we'll do that right now and see where we end up. Hopefully it'll be pretty quick.
Well, he is running a different motor than Elliott Sadler. Doc, he went back to last year's motor for this race to see if they hold together and have better luck this time.
We mentioned, Jamie, that was the first DNF of the year for Richard Petty Motorsports. It couldn't have come at a worse time for Casey Kane. Here's a good lap for the Biff, Greg Biffle, who won this race a year ago. Last time he went to victory lane.
He was flirting with Montoya's speed, but he comes in 3rd quickest right there on that first lap at a 23:03, about 600ths off from Montoya.
Going to give it a go on the second lap, but it's not going to be any quicker, doesn't look like. Montoya is the only car that has broken that threshold of 23 flat.
Talk about tracks that are made for drivers. I think this racetrack's made for Greg Biffle. He just gets it
driving hard, man.
He has not won in 2009, but his best finish of the year, folks, came right here in May when he finished 3rd.
So what do you say? $5 gets you the burger, the fries, the bag, straw, meat, lettuce, sesame seeds, pickles, ketchup packets, wrappers.
CC's Endless Buffet for the same price as a burger in a bag. Now that's a value meal.
The Craftsman cordless C3 line. 25 tools, 1 battery. Bring on the to-do list. Innovation, better value. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
Welcome to Progressive.com. You must be looking for motorcycle insurance.
You're good.
Thanks. So is our bike insurance. All the coverage you need at a great price.
Cool.
Hold on, cowboy. I'm not done. For less than $1 a month, you also get 24/7 roadside assistance.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sounds like you ride a 500.
More like a 900 V-twin.
Excuse me.
Well, you're excused.
The right insurance for your ride. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
It is good. Penn State has been upset by the Hawkeyes.
After last year's stunning upset, Joe Paterno and number 5 Penn State look for revenge as they battle the Hawkeyes in Happy Valley. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Iowa, Penn State, Saturday at 8 Eastern, part of Tailgate Week presented by Kingsford Charcoal. College football lives here.
I had always tinkered with automobiles. It was addicting.
Want to work on cars? This is the best way to do it. Wow, Tech is the real deal.
They teach it all to you right there. It's like going to school for a hobby.
You know you're learning something that you're going to use.
Preparing you for the outside world.
Life's looking good right now. My school's Wild Tech.
Get on the fast track to a career. Train with WyoTech. Even if you don't have a high school diploma or a GED, we may have a program that can help you. Get on the fast track to a career. Train with WyoTech.
At 1-800-515-9733.
Holy. On October 1st, Comcast presents an exclusive scene from the motion picture event of the year, 2012. Go to Comcast.com/2012 to find out when the scene is playing in your area. 2012, only in theaters November 13th. Rated PG-13.
Here's a driver who sat on the pole here back in May, David Rudeman. He has 2 poles in 2009, one of them here and one of them at Texas.
Oh, good run. It's 4th quickest for David Rudeman. 23:08, just 1100ths off of what Montoya has right now for the pole. See, David's, after this second lap, be a little bit slower though.
Led 25 laps here in the spring race, finishing 18th. Was hoping to have a top 10 finish, and right now not a bad starting spot thus far for David Rudeman, 4th overall. Shannon.
Down here with Brian Vickers right now, who's finished 12th or better in the last 10 races. How's the car here this weekend, Brian?
That's okay. We'd obviously like to be a little bit better. I mean, I think that was a decent lap. We improved a good bit from practice, and I think the track's slower, so I think we improved more than most. Hopefully it'll stay in the top 10. I don't know, it's going to be tight. Maybe we'll end up 15th. I really feel like we have a good race package. We made 2 race runs this morning and felt good enough about the race package. We moved to qualifying pretty quickly, so we'll see.
Brian Vickers making his 200th start here this weekend.
First time ever in the chase for Brian Vickers and a team that held their own. They stayed in 8th position last week in terms of chase points at New Hampshire. Here's Kurt Busch, the former champion, coming to the track where he made his very first career Sprint Cup start in 2000.
Yeah, he's a little bit loose on that qualifying lap, 23:24. I think that's a condition they've been fighting. I talked to Pat Triton earlier, and they were having to really tighten their race car up. Said it was turning a lot better than what they did here in the spring.
Yeah, we heard Jimmy Johnson, the car gets loose right there. We heard Jimmy Johnson say that this tire does have a little more aggressive front grip, which makes you have to tighten your race car up. And I think that might be the advantage that Jimmy had of doing that tire test. They were prepared for that.
Pretty loose. We missed it.
You can hear Kurt say there that they were pretty loose right then. This is a tough racetrack. Try to go fast on with a loose race car.
Let's visit with our points leader, Jamie.
Coming off his 5th win of the year, he just told me, I believe this is probably the best season I've had. What's it like for you a week leading up to a race like this, knowing how good you are here, coming off of another win?
Just, it's awesome. We're having so much fun and riding the wave. Really grateful for the way things are turning out, and we're just going to try to keep it up.
Look at that smile. You were 9th in practice. Mark, what do you expect here for qualifying?
Didn't really have what we were looking for in practice. Hope to get I'd be thrilled with something like that. Just doesn't have we just didn't get the feel. We'll get it tomorrow in race trim, I'm sure. But hopefully we'll get somewhere in that area. Make me real happy.
All right, that means the top 9 he would be happy with. He's a 4-time winner here, Doc.
He indeed is that, and he is very good on the concrete. Let's see what Michael Waltrip can do in his Toyota.
His first lap's only 22nd quickest at a 23:54.
Runs an identical time on the second lap.
Must have had it wide open.
That's what Ned used to say.
That's right.
He must have had her wide open.
Talk about identical times. We talked about how close some of these guys. Kyle Busch, who's up in the 10th spot right now, he qualified exactly the same time he practiced at, right down to the thousandths of a second.
Let's visit with the Biff. Shannon.
Well, Greg Biffle won this race last season, and going back to the quote sheets, hopefully this one is right. You did say that you'd be upset if you were not contending for a win here this weekend. So how close is this car to being contender for the win?
This car's really, really close. I'll tell you, we had one of the fastest, 8-lap segments in practice this morning with this thing in race trim. Switched to qualifying. The car's really fast. Like every driver says, left a little bit out there qualifying. It makes you angry when you come back. You wish you could do it 2 or 3 more times. But I'm real happy with it right now. We're in the top 5, and just hopefully we'll keep it there.
And this is a great track for Greg Biffle. He's had 7 straight top 10s, the best of all the chase drivers.
No doubt about it. Maybe he can get to victory lane for the first time this year. This is also the best track for this driver, Reed Sorensen, who has 3 top 5 finishes in the Nationwide car. His best start of the year in the Cup car came here back in May when he qualified this Dodge 4th.
He's going to have to pick it up to duplicate that. He was 16th on the first lap. You could see him fighting the car a little bit down in 1 and 2. Just a little bit of a twitch, and as a driver, you see he's loose off of turn 4, too. Almost identical laps for him. A 23.356 and a 23.357. Is that a little bit of loose that cost him that
thousandths of a second?
Yeah, right there.
Reed Sorensen, a lot of speculation about what he'll do next year. His name in the hat for several rides, including a couple of full-time NASCAR Nationwide Series teams, and maybe even Todd Braun, the Nationwide owner, who said he will run 5 races next year with a Cup car, including the season-opening Daytona 500, and this guy might be an option for that car. Marcus Ambrose, next car to go out to qualify. Let's see what Marcus can do. He has been at Dover twice. His best start came back in May when he qualified 20th and finished 20th.
Let's see if he can better his practice time of a 23:28.
I think he's going to quite get there on this first lap.
Falls a little short.
About 800 slower at a 23:36.
Marcus was so good this year on the concrete at Bristol, Tennessee, running in the top 5 for much of the night. Has not quite had the same magic here on a bigger concrete oval on the 1-mile monster at Dover.
Yeah, that extra half mile in speed at this racetrack makes it a totally different.
Crazy tight, shaking tires through the middle.
Have to translate that one for me.
Something about the kangaroo jump too high, I think is what he said. I'm not really sure. Well, we talked about Casey Kane getting in the chase here for the second time in his career and all the excitement this team had. He qualified at 11th last week in New Hampshire. Thought he was going to have a good run, but on lap 66, it all went away. He had not had a DNF for the entire season until this happened.
Just having a few parts issues. It's basically the crankshaft we're hearing, and that's what you have when you have a new engine package and you're trying to develop new things. You find the weak spots, and it looks like the crankshaft is the weak point in this new Dodge engine. They're trying to get that fixed, but it takes a while to get all those pieces and parts in place.
DJ, he qualified 2nd here in May and finished 6th, so it was a good run all afternoon for this 9 car.
Yeah, pretty good lap here, too. You can see Casey really in the throttle with this race car.
Yeah, good lap. It's another 23.0, a 23.09, and we heard him say he didn't make a mock qualifying run in practice, and that's why he was down there in the 40th spot in the practice session, but he's going to like this lap.
I think it's interesting, folks. If you look at these miles per hour, we're on a 1-mile racetrack, and we're approaching almost 180 mile per hour speeds as these guys go into the corner. So really fast racetrack. Slows down a little bit on that second lap.
Qualifying continuing here. We have 26 cars that are going out to qualify. We had a couple of Gordons chatting a moment ago. Jeff Gordon and Robbie Gordon talking their qualifying laps when we come back in a moment.
Hey, turn on Monday kickoff.
Yes.
What'd you just do? Is it the Miller Lite? All right, here, go ahead. You do it. Let me try something here.
Great taste of Miller Lite and SportsCenter Monday Kickoff. Inseparable greatness.
The Craftsman cordless C3 line. 25 tools, 1 battery. Bring on the to-do list. Innovation, better value. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
So what do you say? $5 gets you the burger, the fries, the bag, straw, meat, lettuce, sesame seeds, pickles, ketchup packets, wrappers.
CC's Endless Buffet for the same price as a burger in a bag. Now that's a value meal.
If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or other state agencies and are looking for a resolution of these back tax issues, don't let the threat of IRS debt collectors haunt you any longer. Call the Tax Relief Helpline now. This toll-free number is available to anyone in America with a need to resolve back tax issues and get their life back on track. Our tax resolution representatives have years of experience successfully negotiating tax settlements with the IRS. Get a free and confidential tax analysis today by calling the toll-free number on the screen now. Our skillful tax resolution representatives will negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. They know how to negotiate with the IRS to resolve your IRS tax debts as favorably as possible. Let our tax resolution representatives fight to get you the IRS tax relief you deserve. Don't wait any longer. Call now for your free tax analysis. The call's toll-free from anywhere in the United States.
This is a special announcement. The public is entitled to purchase cars and homes seized by police and bank agents. An inventory of cars and homes are available now and will be sold to the public. Call 800-620-6812. Cars available from $500. Homes available from $199 a month. Down payment assistance available for those who qualify. For listings in your area, call 800-620-6812. That's 800-620-6812. Call 800-620-6812.
Back at Dover International Speedway, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying coming to you. This is the 44 car of A.J. Allmendinger. Again, another one of the Richard Petty Motorsports teams, and he is slipping and sliding out there.
He is working the steering wheel. See how that translates. He was fast in practice. He was 6th quickest at a 23:03. He's going to be a little off of that speed there, but this car looks quite a bit looser than what he was in practice, maybe. That's a 23:28, 13th quickest. But I think maybe track conditions got these guys.
Whoa, baby.
Man, that was close.
Super 8 Dodge about to hit super hard here at Dover.
28 there, a little loose for you? Yeah, no grip.
Yeah, I think a little loose might have been an understatement in that exchange.
Nice save, though.
Let's talk to Jeff Gordon. Jamie.
Well, he was 13th overall in practice right now. He's suiting up, getting the steering wheel on there. So, Jeff, what do you think about that 42 time? Can you guys touch it?
Well, I think the track temp's gone up. I really think, there's been a few guys that picked up, but not many. I think the 48 here is probably the guy that's got a shot. Maybe Mark Martin, you never know with him and his qualifying this year. Our DuPont Chevrolet's good. I don't think it's enough for the pole, but we're going to put the best lap we can together here and see if we made some improvements. If I could just pick up a little bit from where we were in practice, I'll be very happy.
All right, Jeff Gordon, 10th in points and another 4-time winner here, Doc.
From one Hendrick driver, Jamie, to another 4-time winner here, Jimmy Johnson.
Wow, look at that green.
Yeah, this is our pole sitter right here, I believe, guys.
He catches the rev limiter getting into 3. It's a good sign. He's got it by a 10th now, coming off of 4.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
He wasn't leaving anything out there.
And he did not. 22:87 for Jimmy Johnson, and right now he is on the pole.
Yeah, that's a 10th better. He's going to run this lap, but
bring her in. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, now he's going to back out of it.
Call that first one good.
Nice job, bud. Nice job. That was a 22:87 on your first lap. That's P1. Very good job.
Johnson trying to go for an unprecedented 4 consecutive NASCAR Sprint Cup titles. Well, Johnson was not only good here, he was dominant back in May until he had problems on pit road. This cost him 7 positions. He came in as the leader on this late pit stop and came out and had to run down the 14 car of Tony Stewart, but he did. Ended up leading 298 laps, and Jimmy Johnson's second of 3 wins on the season came here back in May.
Yeah, I talked to Jimmy a little bit earlier today, and just for the other competitors' note, he told me he thinks that their race team is in better shape to win this championship than they were in the previous 3.
They're saying great.
Kevin Harvick on the track. We'll let you watch Kevin Harvick's run. Let's go down and visit with Casey Kane.
Casey Kane's 6th on the speed charts right now. You told Jamie before you got in your car that you weren't able to make a qualifying lap. So what'd you think of that? Your mock qualifying run during qualifying?
It was pretty good, really. We were a little bit loose, but I mean, it felt pretty decent. And now we gained 0.6 from practice, so that was nice to see. So feel good about it. I think our car should be better in race trim, hopefully.
All right, Casey Kane currently 6th. Doc?
Kevin Harvick 15th. Shannon. Taking only the 1 lap at 23.385.
Yeah, he slows down some from his practice time. Looked like his car was a little bit on the loose side also, not being able to get it exactly where he wanted to go.
Next car to go out, last week's winner, Mark Martin. And folks, the last time Mark Martin won a race as the points leader was in the fall of 1990. George Herbert Walker Bush was president, and the current champion, Jimmy Johnson, was 15 years old.
I think this might be the only threat towards Jimmy's pole speed right now, but see Mark's off of that just a little bit.
Now, I'm not sure he's going to like this lap. This car's very twitchy.
He said they made some changes. They didn't have what they were looking for in practice, made some changes, but they might have gone the wrong way with those.
And is there such a thing as less of what you were looking for?
Oh, yeah, this track will do it to you. I don't know how many times we came up here and qualifying and be loose, and it seemed like every time we came it was loose, and I finally decided from now on I'm going to hear push. I'm going to tighten my car up every single time before we qualify.
I used to always take what I had in practice, and then I would either go down with the track bar on the right side or maybe both sides, or put some wedge in it, because this you go out there and you give it a little bit more, you usually run faster, and but invariably you always seem to get loose, just like Andy was talking.
Pretty tough box here with this baby. I didn't get the best lap. Should have been about 8.
But that lap will put you 12th right now, Mark, although your teammate Jimmy Johnson is on the pole. Folks, we're setting the field for Sunday's race number 2 in the 10-race chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. There have been 7 different winners the last 7 Dover Sprint Cup events. Our coverage begins at 1 o'clock Eastern time, beginning with NASCAR Countdown. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Dover, presented by Burger King. On the racetrack, the 20 car going out, that is Joey Logano. Rookie driver leading the Rookie of the Year point standings, 25-point advantage over Scott Speed.
Yeah, good lap on that first lap for Joey Logano. That's 23.17. That's 10th quickest right now.
Joey set the record for the youngest winner in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at New Hampshire back in the spring at the age of 19 years, a month and 4 days. Has 5 top 10 finishes. Likes this racetrack. Was very successful here running in the Camping World East Series. That puts him in the top 10 right there. So good run for the rookie there, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. Right now it is Jimmy Johnson and Juan Pablo Montoya on the front row.
Keep that car running better, longer. Take matters into your own hands. AutoZone is the one place with the expertise you need to get the job done right. Because do it yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Hi, my name is Kylie, and I found these happy words all over my dad's computer. 7777 happy words made happy pictures. I'm going to make a slideshow. where pumpkins live. I'm PC, and more happy is coming.
So what do you say? $5 gets you the burger, the fries, the bag, straw, meat, lettuce, sesame seeds, pickles, ketchup packets, wrappers.
CC's Endless Buffet for the same price as a burger in a bag. Now,
The Craftsman Cordless C3 line. 25 tools, 1 battery. Bring on the to-do list. Innovation, better value. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
Sprint Cup qualifying continuing. On the racetrack is Robbie Gordon in the 7 car. Robbie's best start here was 12th twice back in 02 and 03. He has 3 top 10 finishes. His best finish at 8th back in the spring of 2002.
Chased his car way up the racetrack.
Yeah, it looked like he might have got that left front right down on the apron of the track just a little bit, and that tend to shoot your car up the track. Kind of bottoms that left front out. That lap is a 27th for Robbie Gordon, about a 10th and a half off of what he practiced at.
Looks like he's mirroring the same lap here this second time by. If he can pick it up at all, might be tough to do. And no, he will not do it right now. He clocks in 27th overall. Let's go down and visit with Scott Speed. Jamie.
Well, Doc, who could forget about that big truck win last year for Scott Speed? But you're in the Cup car now. How much different and more difficult is this thing to drive around here?
Well, it's clearly a lot more difficult because we struggled here in the Cup car every time we've come here. The Nationwide car as well has been really good. You know, it was good last time. It's been good here today. But the Cup car around this track is still something that seems to elude me. So, I mean, I think we got it better this time around, and we look forward to, getting it in the show and improving on it during the race. But certainly something that I've definitely struggled with here.
Just trying to get lap times around here, Doc, and he said he's fighting the same things he fought here in May.
Well, this guy's hoping he doesn't fight the same things he thought in May, because in May, Jeff Gordon destroyed his car in qualifying after being the quickest car in the practice, and he had to go to a backup car and logged a 26th place finish. But right now it looks like a pretty good lap for this 24 car.
Yeah, I'd have to say he's going to be pretty happy with this. You can see he's tracking right at the 7th spot, and that's where he'll come in with a 23.11. I don't think he'll do any more. He's pretty much seen everybody run their quickest on that first lap.
He's probably saying, boy, am I glad that is over. Gordon, a 4-time pole sitter and 4-time winner. We told you back in the spring he was quickest in practice, went out and really hustled the car in qualifying, but bam, heavy hit.
Very hard lick coming off the corner there. So he gets loose and tries to catch it. Runs out of room.
This is just such an unforgiving racetrack. You don't have room on the inside or the outside to make a mistake.
Let's talk to his teammate in the champ, Jimmy Johnson.
When we were here earlier this season, Jimmy Johnson had the perfect race. He said his car was awesome. So how close to awesome is this car here this weekend, Jimmy?
Yeah, qualifying was really good. The car's been super fast off the truck. An exciting lap for sure. I think the track changed a little more than we anticipated to, and I really had to hang on to it the entire way around the lap. But it's nice when they're that out of control and you can still produce a lap. I've had them feel fast and looked fast, but we're slow. So the best of both worlds today. Very proud of the slows team. And also we're trying to raise some awareness for the floods in Atlanta. So on the deck lid of our car, we have a sticker for the Racing Relief Fund. If fans would like to learn more about it, go to the stores or look online.
All right, you heard him. Log on and check it out.
I'll do that after qualifying. Thank you very much, Jimmy. Here's a 12-car David Strimmy. He was 15th overall in practice earlier today around lunchtime. Let's see what he can do in qualifying.
Yeah, that's 17th. That first lap being his quickest at a 23.25. A little slower than what he ran in practice, but still a good effort for David.
David, another one of those drivers trying to audition for a ride for next year. Had qualified 6th last week in New Hampshire. Has really been turning up the wick on this car for Roger Penske here in the final weeks as driver for this team. Dale Earnhardt Jr., next car to go out, and you talk about disappointments a week ago. Here's a driver last week in New Hampshire that started 23rd and just drove to the top 10 instantly and then began inching his way toward the top 5. He said in the interview after the incident on the racetrack with the 00 car, he thought he might have had a car that could win the race.
Yeah, he certainly had a great run, and he told me earlier that was the best race car that he's had all year. He obviously was disappointed that with the outcome of it, but he was also very encouraged that they feel like they're moving in the right direction.
He won this race back in the fall of 2001, and first time by Andy, 23rd overall.
Yeah, back to a little bit of a struggle this week after a great run last week.
I still don't know that qualifying is their strong suit yet. You know, that they're working so hard on getting their race setups good that you know, this is something else that they'll have to pay some attention to if they're going to get better in.
Yeah, and they've got a great teammate there with Jimmy Johnson to learn from. So it just always kind of amazes me how you can have one teammate that's so much faster than the others. Jimmy Johnson laying down just such a fast lap. And, you know, Junior's struggling here just a little bit.
See, Dale Jr.'s got him where he wants him. He qualified 23rd last week. He's 23rd right now, and he said he had the car to beat, and he was on his way to the front.
Oh, yeah, great run in that race. He really did, and I see why he was so upset.
Jimmy Johnson right now on the provisional pole. It's Juan Pablo Montoya second, Ryan Newman third, Greg Biffle fourth. Top four right now are all Chase contenders. Here is the 4-car. Good to see the 4-car back on the racetrack. Morgan McClure Racing Efforts. There's Chevy, and Scott Wimmer is the driver.
Yeah, the only bad news for them is where only one car is going home, and they were the slowest car in practice. So let's see if they've made some changes and pick this up for qualifying as we start our kind of knockout qualifying, although we're only going to knock one out today.
If he wants to put some more laps in this weekend, he's going to have to put his leg in it. That first lap's not going to get it done, a 24:12.
Yeah, that's actually slower than what he practiced at.
Scott Wimmer has 4 Cup Series starts here at Dover, and he also has a top 10 start. Back in the spring of 2004, he started 9th. His best finish here was 16th back in the fall of 05.
Runs almost an identical second lap. So we'll have to wait to see what the other cars run.
This 4-car, the first of the go or go homers, the cars that have to get in on time and speed. And as you heard Dale Jarrett say a moment ago, with 44 cars here and 43 starters, only one will miss the field for Sunday. Right now, they're all chasing Jimmy Johnson. He and Montoya on the front row.
Protecting your heart includes watching your cholesterol. Now there's new Heart Health Advantage from Bayer. Its non-aspirin formula contains phytosterols, which may reduce the risk of heart disease by lowering bad cholesterol. New Heart Health Advantage from Bayer.
So what do you say? $5 gets you the burger, the fries, the bag, straw, meat, lettuce, sesame seeds, pickles, ketchup packets, wrappers.
CC's Endless Buffet for the same price as a burger in a bag. Now that's a value meal.
I'm a man. And I smell like a man. But sometimes I like to smell like a different smelling man. Point is, men need a variety of scents. So Old Spice makes a variety of scents. But I don't use them.
Because I'm a woman.
Just kidding. I'm not a woman. I use all of them. Because I'm a man.
After last year's stunning upset, number 5 Penn State looks for revenge as they battle the Hawkeyes in Happy Valley. Saturday Night Football on ABC. Iowa Penn State, Saturday at 8 Eastern. College football lives here.
It's time to feel what it's like to be the seasoned vet on top of the standings and a hungry pack anxious to respond. Time to dig deep to avoid getting devoured by one monstrous mile. The chase continues at Dover, Sunday at 1 Eastern on ABC.
The model year-end clearance sale is on right now, only at Antioch Nissan. Take advantage of the best deals we've ever seen at Antioch Nissan while the trade-in money lasts. Improve your gas mileage and save money at the same time at Antioch Nissan today. Pick up the new 09 Ultimate 2.5S for just $20,910. Or start saving gas and money today with the new 09 Versa 1.8S for just $13,950. Make the smart choice and save thousands at the Antioch Auto Center. Serving Contra Costa for 20 years. So big, they name an exit after them. Auto Center Drive off Highway 4.
What your engine feels, you feel. And when it's running clean, you feel it. Which is why Pennzoil Platinum has active cleansing agents that clean out up to 46% of sludge in your first oil change and continue to clean in your next change. Pennzoil Platinum Motor Oil, our ultimate clean for your ultimate feeling. Not just oil, Pennzoil. Come in now for music downloads and a service certificate with any Pennzoil oil change.
Qualifying continuing at Dover. Here's the reigning Rebestos Rookie of the Year from 2008, Regan Smith in his 78 car. Ran 34 times a year ago, did not have a single DNF. Finished every race and won the Rookie of the Year by a scant 7 points over at Sam Hornish.
See, he's being compared to Scott Wimmer. That will be a lap of 23:49, about a tenth and a half slower than what he practiced at. But we've seen that throughout. I mean, even our pole sitter right now, Jimmy Johnson, slowed down almost a tenth from his practice speed. You know, the reasons that we see these cars slowing down, we talk a lot about the racetrack a lot of times, Andy, but a lot of times, you know, you get those laps in practice and everything is heated up. These cars have been sitting for quite a while, so you don't have all the oils and the wheel bearing grease and all of that.
Well, in practice, yeah, it's ideal conditions. You get everything warmed up, then you can cool it off with a cool down unit, put cold water in it, put fresh tires on it. You can really get the conditions in your favor. You have to sit here for hours and let the car sit. You have to try to keep that oil temp hot with a generator and you know, things like that. So it's not the most ideal condition when you go out there and qualify, although you do try to simulate that. Scott Speed's first lap not very good, 36 quickest. That is going to lock him in the field because he is faster than Wimmer.
He qualified 23rd here back in the spring, finished 37th, had an engine issue in his Toyota, didn't get to finish the race. So the former Formula One driver is locked into the field at a track where he does have some pretty good memories. He came from Formula One and ran a few ARCA races and then started the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series in 2008. And in just his 6th start driving a truck, he went to victory lane here at Dover, Delaware. Still counts that as one of the career highlights thus far in his young Cup career.
Tough racetrack. You get a win in any series, it's an accomplishment.
71 car on the racetrack, and Andy, you were talking about this a moment ago. David Gilliland, we talked about this little team, didn't have a lot of sponsors, don't have a lot of people, but they continue week after week to be impressive.
They really have been. I mean, they were fast in practice. They were fast last week. It's fastest of the go or go home guys for sure. And looking for a good lap here. He ran a 23:13 earlier today.
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to get back to that, but you know, one thing I've always seen is he clocks in at a 28, so about a tenth and a half off of, which has been pretty much the norm. But you wonder sometimes if these teams get affected a little bit more than the others whenever it comes to qualifying and track conditions changing.
Yeah, because they always go at the tail end of the qualifying session. Sometimes it's an advantage. They get a cooler track to run on. Sometimes it's not.
We've got a full weekend of motorsports coming your way from Dover and other places. We'll begin here tomorrow with qualifying for the NASCAR Nationwide Series cars. In the practice session earlier, it was Matt Kenseth and Clint Boyer, the two quickest cars. We'll find out how they're going to qualify 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. Then live flag-to-flag coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series race. Kyle Busch, the points leader. And, of course, Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski trying to move in as the races dwindle away. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action coming your way at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Our coverage presented by Burger King, beginning with NASCAR Countdown. And then if you want to see him run a little less than a quarter of a mile, how about some NHRA drag racing? The O'Reilly Superstart Batteries qualifying in finals 12:15 a.m. and Sunday at 7 Eastern Time, both on ESPN2. 09 car on the racetrack, Mike Bliss, who has run well here in the past in the Nationwide car.
He locks himself into the field. That's 35th quickest time. You see he's only going to take that one lap.
James Finch on team. It's had several different drivers in the car this year. Of course, Brad Keselowski, the most notable one, winning in that 09 from the back of the field after an engine change at Talladega. So 40 of the 44 cars have gone out to qualifying. Right now it is Jimmy Johnson and Juan Pablo Montoya on the front row.
The Craftsman cordless C3 line. 25 tools, 1 battery. Bring on the to-do list. Innovation, better value. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
It's okay. Ugh, if only he were more evolved. Then he'd switch from cable to DirecTV and get 5 months of their best TV package for free. Yes, for free. Maybe if he had DirecTV, he wouldn't sit around staring at me 24/7.
To get 5 months free, call 1-800-DIRECTV.
The Informant is the one movie you have to see to believe.
Yes.
It's a must-see.
What does that mean?
See it.
Absolutely.
Matt Damon is terrific.
Questions?
The Informant. Rated R. Now playing.
So what do you say? $5 gets you the burger, the fries, the bag, straw, meat, lettuce, sesame seeds, pickles, ketchup packets, wrappers.
CC's Endless Buffet for the same price as a burger in a bag. Now that's a value meal.
Want to keep that car running better, longer? Take matters into your own hands. AutoZone is the one place with the expertise you need to get the job done right. Because do it yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
This week on Countdown.
Oh, well, he got that job based on his dad. That may be true.
Like father, like son, and see how Mount Payne helped the 49ers climb to a 2-0 start. Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Final few cars to qualify. Only one of these cars is not going to get in. There's the 36 car on the racetrack, and that is Michael McDowell. And he locks himself in with a 23.780 second lap. Let's go down and talk with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jamie.
Well, he's 24th on the charts right now. It's a little bit better than practice, Junior, but how would you assess that qualifying run?
We ran, that was the 13th qualifying run we've run today. And we ran 30s every time. We tried everything to make the car faster. So we just, we tried a couple things that Jimmy was doing. He's really quick, and we just never picked up any speed. So it's a little disappointing, but the race setup's totally different. The whole method of setting the car up for the race is totally different. So I'm not really expecting this to roll over in tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get things going on the NASCAR Championship Chevrolet when practice starts in the morning.
All right, maybe that means things are going to be faster in race trim for tomorrow, Doc.
Wow, did he say that's the 13th time they went out and attempted to qualify? The car just didn't really change much.
Well, they gave it a good effort. They did 13 qualifying runs, simulated qualifying runs in practice. So, they're doing all they can do.
Joe Nemechek out to qualify, and the former Nationwide Series champion, DJ, will lock himself into the field.
Does a good job. That's the 40th quickest at a 23.76, but that is in the race.
So we got one more car to go. That's Dave Blaney, and it'll either be Dave Blaney or Scott Wimmer that will not make it in.
Joe actually picked it up a little bit on his second lap there. One of the few cars that's done that. That's about 4 cars that have done that now. He has the distinction of picking up the most, about 0.09 of a second.
Yeah, we actually got 2 more cars to go. Here's Tony Raines. He's the next to the last car.
Well, 1 plus 1 more. That's 2.
Yeah, 1 plus 1 is 2.
Gotcha.
Close.
It's been a while. Okay. Let's see what Tony can do to get this car in.
Tony ran a 23.77 in practice, which would certainly be good enough to get him in. He just has to beat a 24.12.
He's on pace to do that. No problem, as long as he doesn't have any issues down here on this end.
Just joined our coverage across the top of your screen. You see Jimmy Johnson right now on the pole, Montoya second, Newman is third, and Biffle fourth. So the top 4 qualifiers are all chase drivers.
He locks himself in.
So now that would leave 1 car to qualify.
Now we've got 1.
I got you. There he is, Dave Blaney, here today to go out in the 66 car. We'll see if he can get his Toyota in the field, or will it be the Chevy of Scott Wimmer. He's got to beat a 24.12 for Scott Wimmer to be able to lock himself into the field for Sunday.
Dave Blaney's done a good job pretty much all year in this race car getting it qualified, so unless something should happen, you'd think that he's going to drive his way in.
Yeah, he ran 23:36 in practice. If he can do anything anywhere close to that, shouldn't be any problem at all.
Remember last time we were on a concrete racetrack, this guy went out at Bristol and qualified 4th.
Amazing job they did there. Dave Blaney's a great race car driver. He just, he just needs another good opportunity.
Former World of Outlaws champion, a 4-time runner-up in the Outlaws Series prior to coming into stock car racing full-time.
Now we'll get him in the show for Sunday, 35th, 23:51.
Somebody needs to be on the radio. Don't want to go down here and crash.
No.
So that means that Scott Wimmer will be the one car that is going home. And the field will be officially set now with Dave Blaney in. And Jimmy Johnson has picked up his 2nd pole of 2009, adding to his pole at Watkins Glen. It's also his 2nd pole here.
Good run, bud. How was your car?
At Dover International Speedway.
2 loose exit.
This would be Jimmy's 21st career Cup pole, so he'll lead him down on Sunday. Shannon.
Well, this is Jimmy Johnson's 2nd pole here at Dover, and you sat on the pole in this race in 2007. So in your mind, what's the biggest benefit to sitting on the pole here at Dover?
Without a doubt, that first pit stall. There's so much time to be gained on pit road, and the fact that you only have to go a few short feet to cross the camera line makes all the difference in the world. So very proud of this team. I mean, the guys worked hard to bring me a car that was fast, and we did nothing but make small adjustments on it and made it faster and faster every run.
How much did working on that tire test or participating in the tire test help you come here and unload as close as you were this weekend?
It definitely does help, and there's no way around that. We didn't make qualifying runs, and we spent a lot of time on the control tire and doing a variety of different things that Goodyear wanted us to do. So we didn't know what we would have for today. I feel the advantages of the test will show up more tomorrow than what we had today. So with all that in mind, I'm really excited and think that this Lowe's car is going to be a threat for the win.
Watch out for the 48 team this weekend, guys.
Jimmy Johnson trying to get win number 5 at Dover and trying to win back-to-back here after dominating back in May. Let's show you the qualifying order. Johnson on the pole. Last week's pole sitter, Juan Pablo Montoya, outside of him. You don't think Juan Pablo will be aggressive when they wave the green flag, do you?
Man, he's been on it so far.
Good run for pole sitter back here in June. David Rudeman's up there in 5th.
How about Sam Hornish at top 10 qualifying? His first top 10 start since Darlington back in the spring.
Yeah, Paul Menard makes the first page.
Rookie Joey Logano there. Start just outside the top 10 and 11th. A good run for Brian Vickers.
See our points leader, Mark Martin, outside of row 7. I don't think he'll be there very long. He's a little bit disappointed with his qualifying effort.
Another good run for the 71 car with David Gilliland behind the wheel this week.
Second part of the field, there's Tony Stewart. Remember, 5 consecutive races. Tony has missed the top 10 in finishes. I got to believe he will be good on Sunday. There's Dale Earnhardt Jr. Started back there in New Hampshire, came to the front in the first 45 laps.
Carl Edwards going to have to come from the 30th starting spot and see what he can do is work his way into the top 10 and challenge for a win on Sunday.
Back of the field, you see Martin Truex Jr., former winner here. There's Elliott Sadler, who had an engine problem trying to back up that top 10 finish. He had an 8th place run last week in New Hampshire. Andretti, Michael Waltrip, Scott Speed, the rookie, and Joe Nemechek. Bobby Labonte back there, Tony Raines, and Michael McDowell. Well, guys, your thoughts on qualifying Jimmy Johnson, who had him covered here in May, is going to be the guy they're going to be chasing here again on Sunday.
It seems like anything that he set that team sets their mind to do, they do. I mean, they came in here with the focus of getting that pole position so they could get that number 1 qualifying or pit spot from qualifying. And they've got it. I mean, this is, when they put their mind to something, they're hard to beat.
They are the team to beat. I mean, they've done it 3 years in a row. I was talking to Jimmy before qualifying. I said, "You just in qualifying trim?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "But we were in that last week and went out and had a stellar effort, like 16th or something at Loudon." So that wasn't something that they said was just automatic that because they were in that they were going to do well. But he was very confident in talking to me that this race team is right where he wants it to be and in solid shape to win this championship.
And I know this is just the second race of the chase, but at some point we've got to take Juan Pablo Montoya very seriously as a contender for this championship.
We talked about him being a wild card, and we joke about how aggressive he was last week in New Hampshire, but he was on the attack from the time they waved the green flag, and I got to believe the same thing's going to happen on Sunday.
Yeah, I think so too. And if you've got a good car, I expect him to be very aggressive, and aggressive pays off at this racetrack. This is one of those you have to attack, and I think that Juan Pablo will be very strong Sunday.
Yeah, his crew chief's been telling us, just wait. If we get this thing in the chase, we're going to show you something else, and they've turned the wick up here, no doubt.
And the guys that start third and fourth, we're talking about Ryan Newman and Greg Biffle. Neither one of those drivers have won a race in 2009, and both of those guys are good at this racetrack. We talked about Greg Biffle. Last time he went to victory lane was this race a year ago. His best finish of the season came here when he finished third. He will start fourth on Sunday. How about the Rocket Man, Ryan Newman? He's a three-time winner at Dover International Speedway. He qualified third, and remember, he wants to take that car to victory lane. He visited the troops, the injured troops at Walter Reed this week, said, I want to go to victory lane for you guys. And here is Mr. Aggression, Juan Pablo Montoya, the wild card in the chase, coming off a third-place finish at New Hampshire. He was on the pole there. He'll be on the outside front row here. And the guy he will start beside is the champ. 3 consecutive championships. He is the only guy that can chase history this year and win 4 in a row. Picking up his second pole of the season and his second pole at Dover International Speedway. He led 298 laps here back in May. Jimmy Johnson will lead him down. Our coverage begins at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC on Sunday afternoon, beginning with NASCAR Countdown. Can Johnson hold him off and maybe go back to victory lane? Will Montoya be a factor? Could Newman or Biffle get their first win of the year? Jeff Gordon is a 4-time winner. He'll be a factor there. How about a wild card in David Rudiman, who qualified 5th in the 00 car? All that and more coming your way Sunday. Of course, we got NASCAR Nationwide Series action on Saturday. Once again, congratulations to Jimmy Johnson, our pole sitter at Dover. Coming up next is NASCAR Now. So long, everybody.
With Chase Race number 2 just days away, cars hit the track for the first time Friday. See who was the speed demon at the Monster Mile. Mark Martin is off to a very fast start in the chase and now heads to the track he considers his favorite. But hear why he's not looking too far ahead. And as Danica Patrick's IndyCar future becomes more clear, has her NASCAR future become more blurry? We'll tell you coming up on NASCAR Now. It's qualifying day in Dover. There's the monster. He's hungry. And Juan Pablo Montoya is certainly hungry as well. A pole a week ago in New Hampshire. Could he do it 2 weeks in a row? Gave it one heck of a shot. A very fast lap for Juan Pablo Montoya. He'd have to fend off some pretty stiff challenges, however. Hendrick Motorsports gave them to Juan Pablo, led by several drivers, including Mark Martin. He ended up qualifying 14th, however. Jeff Gordon comes into Dover. He's a 4-time winner there, trying to rebound from a disappointing finish in race number 1. Good qualifying effort, not exactly what he was looking for, however. He qualified 7th. Jimmy Johnson, an extremely fast race car. 4 Dover wins, including a dominant run back in the spring. Made a bid for the pole, and he got it. His second pole this season. Shannon Spake spoke with him.
Well, this is Jimmy Johnson's second pole here at Dover, and you sat on the pole in this race in 2007. So in your mind, what's the biggest benefit to sitting on the pole here at Dover?
Without a doubt, that first pit stall. There's so much time to be gained on pit road, and the fact that you only have to go a few short feet to cross the camera line makes all the difference in the world. So very proud of this team. I mean, the guys worked hard to bring me a car that was fast, and we did nothing but make small adjustments on it and made it faster and faster every run.
As you heard Shannon say, it's Johnson's second career pole at Dover. He'll try to be the first driver to sweep here since 2003. The driver to sweep back then, Ryan Newman, will start 3rd. Juan Pablo Montoya, you saw his lap there. It was very strong. He qualified in the outside of the front row. Meanwhile, chaser Greg Biffle, winner of this race last year, will start 4th. Hello, everybody, and welcome to NASCAR Now. I'm Mike Massaro. Well, it has certainly been a dream season for Mark Martin, but if this is his year, he's not ready to admit it just yet, despite facing a barrage of questions over the past 6 months regarding his championship potential. Mark has remained, if nothing else, consistent, saying, "I didn't come to Hendrick Motorsports to win a championship. I came here to drive fast race cars and hopefully win a race." Martin has done more than win a race. He's now won 5 of them, including round 1 of the chase. Martin led 68 laps and fended off challenges from Denny Hamlin and Juan Pablo Montoya to win Sunday. It was Martin's first New Hampshire victory and 40th win of his career. With the victory, Mark Martin heads to Dover, a place where he's won 4 times with a 35-point advantage over defending champ Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin. Sitting 4th is Juan Pablo Montoya, shooting to become the first foreign-born series champion. And for more on Mark Martin's quest for his first Sprint Cup Series title, let's head out to Dover and bring in Nicole Mansky. And Nicole, you can feel the excitement starting to build around Mark.
You can, but believe it or not, Mark says he himself can't actually feel it, and that's because for the past 2 years, he's come into this part of the season as a part-timer. Because he was running a part-time schedule, he didn't make the chase. This year, at least to this point, he is the focus of the chase.
Mark is hungry. I mean, you can see it. You can see it in when you talk to him. You see it on the racetrack.
Brian Vickers says it's hunger driven by experience and desire. At 50, Mark Martin is the chase's oldest driver, but in 27 years of racing, he has never won a Sprint Cup Series championship.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, why is he still doing so good at that age? I think it has less to do with his age and more to do with the fact that he is still really hungry.
That hunger has already guided Martin to one of the season's best comebacks. 4 races into 2009, he was 34th in points. 5 wins and a chase berth later, Martin is number 1.
It's been a real magical year. It's really been incredibly special. Certainly rivals, my best year ever. And at this stage in my career, I certainly wouldn't expect to.
And Mark Martin says he doesn't have many expectations. He says he doesn't sit around dreaming. He's never been a dreamer. He said at 5'6", he doesn't sit around and dreaming about ever playing in the NBA. But he is a realist. As you heard him say earlier, reality is that he drives a fast race car. He says fast race cars win races, and sometimes fast race cars win championships.
Yeah,
Mike?
I can't imagine him in the NBA either. I want to get to something he said last week. He talked a little bit in Victory Lane at Loudon about Talladega being the lotto of this chase, if you will. How much is Mark looking ahead?
Well, I think it was a surprise when Mark Martin said that. A lot of people were taken aback by him looking that far ahead in the chase. But don't be deceived by that comment. He said it was just a pure and simple thought he was throwing out to remind people that Loudon is literally just 1/10 of what's going to go on in this chase. It is 1 race of 10. It is a small percentage of what matters. He didn't want people to start overlooking races like this one. He said Dover is one of my favorite racetracks, as you alluded to earlier. And by the way, he's won here a few times, 4 of them.
All right,
Mike.
Nicole, go pay attention. The national anthem's playing in the backdrop there. Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Still under the hood, it was the worst-case scenario for Casey Kane. Hear how he plans to bounce back from a debilitating motor failure in Loudon. With his third-place effort in New Hampshire, Juan Pablo Montoya continues to inch closer to his first oval track victory. Could it come this week? And among active drivers, no one has more Dover wins than Jimmy Johnson. Hear what he says he needs to do to succeed at the Monster Mile.
Remember when I got my nationwide insurance policy?
Sure do. You were only 16.
The Earnhardt family has had nationwide insurance for more than 30 years because they give me an on-your-side review. That gets me the coverage that I need at the right price for me. Now that's on your side. Call 1-866-500-5555.
Or your local agent.
And get a quote today.
Nationwide is on your side. Call 866-500-5555.
What happens in Billups County stays in Billups County.
I can see why.
Remember, boys, what happens at the Caribou Lodge stays at the Caribou Lodge.
I guess what happens at the doctor's office stays at the doctor's office?
We'll let the lab decide.
What happens in Lincoln? Yeah.
People choose 5-Hour Energy over 4 million times a week.
to help them through their busy lives. But the question is, what's in it? Everything in 5-Hour Energy is available in everyday food, like apples, avocados, grains, and nuts, or already in you. It does have as much caffeine as a cup of the leading premium coffee, but what 5-Hour Energy doesn't have is just as important. 0 sugar, 0 herbal stimulants, and only 4 calories. 5-Hour Energy was designed to help you feel the way you want to feel, bright and alert, not wired and jittery. You'll get hours of smooth energy without the crash or jitters. Still concerned? Try just half a bottle to start. In a few minutes, you'll be able to decide if you want more or not, or if 5-Hour Energy simply isn't for you. People choose 5-Hour Energy over 4 million times a week. It works for them. It might just work for you. Try it today.
It's time to feel what it's like to be the seasoned vet on top of the standings and a hungry pack anxious to respond. Time to dig deep to avoid getting devoured by one monstrous mile. The chase continues at Dover, Sunday at 1 Eastern on ABC.
Right now on ESPN.com, Denny Hamlin entered the chase with momentum and as a favorite in some corners. So far, so good after race 1. But the number 11 faces a test Sunday at a track that's given him fits. Check out Matt Willis's stats blog on ESPN.com. And as Matt points out in that blog, Denny has plenty of momentum. With his runner-up finish in New Hampshire, he's now recorded 7 consecutive top 10 finishes, but knows he'll need a strong effort in Dover to keep that going.
The racing here, it always seems to come down to the last 2 laps. Somebody's battling someone for a win. It's just the track, you can move around so many different places. But, it goes back to you got to be comfortable in your race car to be able to do that. And, right now, I don't know how many guys are really totally comfortable. The best car usually ends up winning at this racetrack because the speed is so magnified and your setup, kind of comes through so much.
For much of the day last Sunday, Juan Pablo Montoya had the dominant car. He led a race-high 105 laps before being shuffled back to third on a late race restart. Montoya's off to a good start, but headed to Dover, he's cautiously optimistic.
This probably has been one of the easiest tracks for me because it actually has a lot of grip. So you can actually feel like you're driving the car like what I was used to. This is the closest feeling I get. I've blown a lot of tires and I hit the fence a lot of times here. So if I can keep it off the fence, it would be good.
No chaser heads into Dover in a deeper hole than Casey Kane. A motor failure in New Hampshire ended his day 234 laps shy of the checkers. He's now a distant 161 points back, heading into Dover with a very realistic perspective.
We're definitely in a hole. I mean, that's part of it, but I think, hopefully everybody has a bad race, and if not, then some of them do, and we gain some points back and just do the best job we can. I mean, at this point, all we can do is try hard and keep working hard on our cars and our engines, and I'll keep working on my driving, and I think we should be all right. We'll gain some of those spots back. I don't know how many, but we'll gain some back.
Despite entering the chase as a favorite, Jeff Gordon walked away from New Hampshire with a lackluster result. He was 15th and now finds himself 102 points behind championship leader Mark Martin. Gordon, though, not panicking yet.
Obviously, we've got some ground to make up, but we're not sitting here going, okay, we got to make it all up right here at Dover. We're in a do or die situation. We're not. We're looking at it as 9 races. We got 9 races to get our consistency up, our performance up. We got to lead some laps. We got to, when we're in position to battle for a win, we got to pull off the win.
Jimmy Johnson heads into the weekend with 4 Dover wins on his resume, including a dominating performance in May. Johnson led 298 of the 400 laps. If nothing else, Johnson knows to win here, you've got to be up on the wheel.
This is a track where you can't be cautious, or maybe, where cautious is kind of much higher. So you come here, it's almost like Bristol in a sense, to where everything is heightened and it speeds up, and the way you drive the car is much more aggressive. So if you come in here thinking, well, I'm just going to be calm and have an easy weekend, guys are going to be blowing your doors off, and you've really got to stay focused and commit to really driving this track hard.
Time to take our stats and graphics to the next level. Not only did Jimmy Johnson dominate the Dover race earlier this season, he was the fastest car on the track for 127 of the 400 total laps. That's more than 3 times more than any other driver. Greg Biffle was pretty fast too, as you can see. And remember, he's the guy who won this race a year ago. Still to come, Danica Patrick has made it clear she's not leaving IndyCar anytime soon. Does that mean NASCAR is no longer an option? And it was a moving gesture by some of NASCAR's biggest stars. See how Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon paid tribute to some of America's fallen soldiers.
Welcome to Progressive.com. You must be looking for motorcycle insurance.
You're good.
Thanks. So is our bike insurance. All the coverage you need at a great price.
Cool.
Hold on, cowboy. I'm not done. For less than $1 a month, you also get 24/7 roadside assistance.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sounds like you ride a 500.
More like a 900 V-twin.
Excuse me.
Well, you're excused.
The right insurance for your ride. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
This is a special announcement. The public is entitled to purchase cars and homes seized by police and bank agents. An inventory of cars and homes are available now and will be sold to the public. Call 800-620-6812. Cars available from $500. Homes available from $199 a month. Down payment assistance available for those who qualify. For listings in your area, call 800-620-6812. That's 800-620-6812. Call 800-620-6812.
It is good. Penn State has been upset by the Hawkeyes.
After last year's stunning upset, Joe Paterno and number 5 Penn State look for revenge as they battle the Hawkeyes in Happy Valley. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Iowa, Penn State, Saturday at 8 Eastern. Part of Tailgate Week, presented by Kingsford Charcoal. College football lives here.
Welcome to Progressive. How may I help you? I'm looking for a deal on car insurance. I think I might have a coupon in here.
There's an easier way. We've got the name your price option.
You do?
Follow me. You tell us how much you want to pay, and we'll build you a policy that fits your budget.
And I still get great coverage.
Uh-huh. Go ahead. You're the boss.
I'm the boss of savings.
More like the CEO. No glass ceiling.
The freedom to name your price. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
The model year-end clearance sale is on right now, only at Antioch Toyota Scion. Check out America's most fuel-efficient cars and save thousands only at Antioch Toyota. See a huge selection of new and pre-owned vehicles today, only at Antioch Toyota. Pick up the new 2010 Toyota Corolla for just $139 a month, or grab the new 09 Toyota Camry Hybrid and take $4,500 off MSRP only at Antioch Toyota. Make the smart choice and head to Antioch Auto Center, serving Contra Costa for 20 years. So big, they name an extra after them. Auto Center Drive off Highway 4.
Be sure to join us Sunday at 10 a.m. as we get you revved up for Chase Race number 2. We'll hear from many of the chasers, including an interview with Ryan Newman. We'll cover all the storylines heading into Dover. That's NASCAR Now, Sunday, 10 a.m. here on ESPN2. According to a report in the Indianapolis Star, Danica Patrick has agreed to a 3-year contract with Andretti Green Racing and will stay in the IndyCar series. It was reported last month that she is also expected to run an exploratory stock car schedule in 2010. For more on Danica, let's bring in NASCAR Now reporter Angelique Shingalis. Angelique, what are you hearing about this Danica story?
Mike, I did have a chance to communicate with an official from Andretti Green Racing today, and he said that the team is not commenting on this report. He said there has not been an announcement, and because of that, they will not participate in any things like this in the media that they will not confirm at the moment. That doesn't mean it's not happening. Andretti Green just isn't prepared to confirm it right now.
Just to remind our audience, Ed Hinton's report last month did stipulate that Danica was expected to run a full IndyCar schedule in 2010 in addition to this exploratory NASCAR schedule. Any reason those expectations should change?
I don't think so, and based on conversations I had with several drivers and 2 team owners today in the garage, Mike, the sense is, look, the IndyCar series is short enough that Danica Patrick can come in and sample some of the series, obviously go into the Nationwide, maybe attempt a truck race, perhaps even an ARCA race, just to get her feet wet and to get a feel for the heavier car. But Obviously, we don't know for sure what Andretti Green's contract with Danica Patrick might stipulate. They could put a limit on the number of races she does participate outside of the IRL. But most of the people here in the garage think that it's still on, that Danica Patrick will attempt to make a few races just to get her feet wet.
Okay, moving on now, a little bit of sponsor news this week. Jack Daniels and Jim Beam both announced they will not be back in 2010. Where does that leave Robbie Gordon and Casey Mears?
Well, I had a chance to speak to Robbie Gordon in the garage today, Mike, and he's very upbeat. I mean, this guy is a very resilient driver, and he said that one thing his father taught him is to always have 3 sponsors going into a season, because if you lose one, you're still in business. And he said he's very much in business. I mean, certainly he hates losing a sponsor. He said Polaris has picked up about 33% of the races that Jim Beam had, and so he feels comfortable. Now, what does that mean about the future? He said he's a survivor. He's here to race. He's always here to race, and he will be here next season in the garage doing what he does, and that's being an owner-driver.
Okay, now what seems a little bit curious to me, Angelique, these 2 sponsors, they basically sell the same product. They bowed out essentially at the same time. Is this just a coincidence, or is there something more to it?
Well, I think it is a coincidence, but Robbie Gordon did even raise his eyebrows at that too, Mike, saying it was very odd. But both organizations had reasons for their departures. Jack Daniels said that it's finding that its popularity is really overseas in Asia and South Africa, and certainly NASCAR is not as big over there and would not give them the punch that they need for their sponsorship. And then Jim Beam is going to be part of the Kid Rock concert tour. So they're putting their money into the music side of this industry. So a little bit odd, but certainly understandable in terms of the economic climate right now.
Yeah, in this economy, who knows what else might happen. Angelique, thanks for your time, and go get some earplugs, will you?
Thanks, Mike.
Those aren't the only major sponsors leaving in 2010. DeWalt announced earlier this season that they won't return to Matt Kenseth and the 17 team. Crown Royal will move over to the 17 car for a partial schedule next season. And GoDaddy.com will also join Mark Martin's 5 team as a sponsor. One sponsor that will continue to be part of the Hendrick Motorsports portfolio is the National Guard, a wing of the American Armed Forces which over the years has seen a countless number of soldiers sacrifice their lives for our country. So en route to Dover this week, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Rick Hendrick paid a very special tribute to those fallen heroes. On Thursday, Earnhardt, Gordon, and Hendrick visited Arlington National Cemetery. While there, they took part in a very moving and meaningful ceremony where they placed a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier. It was a humbling experience for these superstars.
You hear about Arlington Cemetery, the tomb of the unknown soldier. You watch it on TV, and to be able to experience it literally firsthand, to have your hands on the wreath, something very special.
Seeing the actual the process of the Guard and how skilled they are, and how structured all that is, really brought home, I guess, brought to me the importance of the entire the entire Guard itself.
The changing of the Guard is just something that will stick with me forever. Just the amount of time it must take for these soldiers to train and practice. Every movement is so precise and timed so perfectly. We do a lot with pit crews and changing 4 tires, but what these guys do is just absolute perfection.
The Arlington National Cemetery is the final resting place for more than 300,000 soldiers who lost their lives fighting for our country in conflicts dating all the way back to the Civil War. Straight ahead, with qualifying in the books, some chasers are in better shape than others. Our experts break it all down when we return on NASCAR Now.
So what do you say? $5 gets you the burger, the fries, the bag, straw, meat, lettuce, sesame seeds, pickles, ketchup packets, wrappers.
CC's Endless Buffet for the same price as a burger in a bag. Now that's a value meal.
The reviews are in.
Well, great. Now, where did we get those? Wow. Thank you.
The Informant. Rated R. Now playing.
If you have more than $10,000 in credit card debt, time is not on your side.
Take the first step by calling the Debt Relief Helpline now. Debt management programs have been effective in helping individuals and families just like yours rebuild their credit and get their lives back on track. So call the number on the screen now. In just minutes, a debt settlement representative will go over the many options available to you. Options that include setting up a payoff plan with your existing creditors to reduce past penalties and late fees and lower your interest rates.
I'm going to confront this economic crisis head on by taking all necessary steps to ease the credit crisis, help hardworking families, and restore growth and prosperity.
So get your life back on track now. Time isn't on your side, so don't wait. This is the perfect time to develop a plan that can help settle your debt and help you make that first step toward financial freedom. So don't wait. Make the call now.
It started in March. 100 anglers set out, competing to be one of 12 to make it to postseason. Now, 2 final events will determine the Toyota Tundra Bassmaster Angler of the Year. Don't miss the Bassmaster Elite Series, Sunday at 4 on ESPN2.
Take matters in your own hands. Keep that car running better, longer. Do everything you can to make sure a small job doesn't turn into a costly one. And AutoZone is the one place with the expertise and tools you need to do the job right the first time. Because do it yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Lug Notes is brought to you by AutoZone.
And here are our AutoZone lug notes. First, Scene Daily reports that Braun Racing will attempt 5 Sprint Cup races next season, including the Daytona 500. The driver is still to be determined. And Scene Daily also reports that Casey Kane will drive a Toyota in the Nationwide Series for Braun, despite the fact that he'll be driving a Ford in the Cup Series. And Montreal Canadiens defenseman Patrice Brisebois retired from the NHL Thursday. And get this, he'll now attempt to run the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series next season. Time now to head to the Home Depot Cutaway Car and Ray Evernham.
Race number 2 in the chase for the Sprint Cup moves to Dover International Speedway this weekend. Dover is a high-speed, high-banked, 1-mile racetrack with a concrete surface. So that concrete surface is going to cause the teams to really be paying attention to tire wear this weekend. Dover has normally been tough on tires, but Goodyear lately has been bringing a tire that the teams can decide if they want to do 2 tires or 4 tires. This is important at Dover because during the middle of the race, we don't see a lot of caution flags, which causes the teams to pit under green flag conditions. So if you can do 2 tires instead of 4 tires, you'll spend less time on pit road and come out with better, important track position at Dover. For NASCAR Now, I'm Ray Evernham.
Thank you, Ray. No driver in Cup Series history has averaged a better finish at Dover than Carl Edwards. Edwards has been 7th or better in his last 6 starts at the Monster Mile. 4 of the top 6 spots on the all-time list are taken up by Chase drivers, but they're all looking up at Edwards, who's trying to recover from a 17th place finish last week.
There is a little bit of, a little bit of urgency, but still, it's still 10 races, and last week, for instance, wasn't exactly what we wanted, but it wasn't a disaster either. We have to run well every race, and there's still a lot that can happen. So it's a relatively short time, but boy, a lot can happen in 2 or 3 races.
We run very good here. The spring race, I look back at that when we were leading, 5 to go, and got passed by the 48-14, finished 3rd. But we're running good here this weekend. Didn't come off the truck very good with this new tire. Took us a little bit to get up to speed, and pretty happy with the way the car's driving now.
This track can really be a game changer for a lot of people in the chase. There's going to be guys that are going to come out of here big winners, and there's going to be guys that will probably come out of here big losers. Whether it's their fault or not. And the best way to avoid accidents at this racetrack is to be leading.
Our motorsports calendar is chock full of activity. Saturday Nationwide Series racing at Dover begins 3 Eastern on ESPN2. Later that night, it's the Truck Series race. Sunday's the big one, though. Race 2 of the Chase. Coverage starts at 1 Eastern on ABC. For more on Sunday's race, let's turn it over to Dr. Jerry Punch, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie.
As you saw earlier in NASCAR now, Jimmy Johnson picking up his second pole of the year and second career pole here at Dover, Delaware. 6 chasers qualifying in the top 10. And folks, look at second and third. Montoya and Ryan Newman both picking up after that good run they had a week ago at New Hampshire.
And Juan Montoya just jumped straight out there, led every practice session, got the pole, raced very aggressive at New Hampshire, and got a good third place finish to move himself up in the point standing.
Ryan Newman's day didn't start quite as well. He qualified back just outside of the top 15, but worked his way steadily towards the front. And on days when you don't have the best race car, what do? You get the most points you possibly can, and he did that.
He led a lap, got bonus points, and finished 7th. Now, both those drivers making moves upward in the standings. You see Montoya up 7 positions to 4th, and Ryan Newman moving up 3 spots. There were also drivers moving backwards, 4 of them to be exact, that dropped down in the standings. Look at Casey Kane back 7 positions. What a time to have his first DNF of the year.
It could have been worse. It could have happened before the chase and him miss it, but he's going to have a string of top 5 finishes now to try to overcome this engine failure before he'll ever have a chance.
Tony Stewart had an issue with an axle cap that was loose.
Yeah, this wasn't a problem with the cap itself. This was someone leaving this loose. Didn't do their job properly. Can't have any more of those in this chase.
And Jeff Gordon would drop back 4 positions with a 15th place finish, battling his teammates most of the day.
Had a great car in the beginning of the race, but just faded. I don't know if it was a mechanical issue or what happened with his car, but it definitely was not as strong at the end as it was in the beginning.
So, guys, that brings us to race number 2 of the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup at Dover Downs International Speedway. And the guys that have to really get it done, we're talking about the guys that struggled last week, Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, and this has been a really good racetrack for both of those drivers. They have to get it done this week. No more problems if they're going to have a chance of making up some ground and getting back in this championship battle.
Before we started this chase, it was these 2 drivers we were talking about that were going to be the favorites. Now, they have to get back to work. If they're going to do it, this will be a great place, Dover.
Tony Stewart not getting a top 10 starting spot, but he's been good at this racetrack. And, of course, Jeff Gordon is a 4-time winner here at Dover. They'll all be chasing Jimmy Johnson when they wave the green flag on Sunday. A lot of work to be done for guys in this chase, and a couple of guys that already have some ground to cover to make up for what happened last week at New Hampshire. Mike?
Thanks, Doc, and thank you, folks, for tuning in to NASCAR Now this evening. We hope you'll join us again Sunday morning when we get you ready for race 2 of the chase. Remember, at 10 a.m. Eastern here on ESPN2. Ryan Newman and Casey Kane will be among our guests.